That is because of
Let's have a start of a prayer. I have it too this time, so you can have it.
Let me just introduce
Yes.
Baljit. He's my brother-in-law also, and he's a SRF devotee, self-realization
Oh,
fellowship
nice.
devotee.
Yeah, you
Very
look
nice.
familiar.
Yeah,
He's brother-in-law, meaning is he
my
Gulab's,
sister, Gulab's sister's husband.
Gulab's sister's husband. Okay, which one, Usha or
Asha.
Asha.
Oh, Asha, Acha, that's why you look.
Yeah, you know Asha, so he's
Asha, I know
Asha's
very
husband.
Okay. Yeah, okay, welcome. Very nice that you are.
So you know everybody looks like.
No, he
No?
doesn't
So
know.
obviously,
I know,
but
but
maybe everybody can you say their name?
You know, in Santa Fe, when she had in Lomas, Santa Fe had
Oh,
bigger
yeah.
shop,
Oh,
I was
you
always
knew,
there
yeah.
because I lived over there.
Oh, you
Her
knew.
name is
Manju.
Manju Sikri.
Joginder?
Joginder.
Kohli?
That's what we call Joe Kohli.
Oh,
He's,
Joko.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm Nisha. Nisha.
Nisha, okay.
Shireen
And
Advani.
Yeah.
And that's her husband.
Husband
Oh,
Atmaji over there,
Okay.
Uma Agarwal.
Oh.
And Meera Kumar.
Yeah, Mira Kumar, sorry.
And he is in the same state you are, you know. Asha keeps you that far, so he's sitting there.
No, he's sitting by choice.
I'm just.
But I am not in that stage.
So Asha keeps him that far?
All husbands, they don't accept it or not. You know.
You know it, huh?
Okay, let's start our prayers.
Right.
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviyam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma
Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah.
Om Bhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Tvameva Mata cha Pita
Tameva, Tameva Vidyascha Sakha Tameva, Tameva Vidyacha Drakam Tameva, Tameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva,
Tvameva
Sarvam Mama Deva Deva.
Okay, so we're going to do one verse of Gita today because that's a really long one.
Are we going to do Manduka? No.
Yeah, we will do Manduka. We usually start with, remember, one or two verses of Bhagavad Gita, and then we were, so maybe I should just, because you came today first time. So we are actually doing Mandukya Upanishad, and we are following
It says chapter 8.
Swami
number
Chinmayananda's
8.
commentary.
Okay.
And this Mandukya Upanishad, the 12 verses, but there is a explanation by Gaudapadji, who was Shankaracharya's guru's guru. He wrote commentary on because it's the 12 mantras are so power packed. There are a lot of things in there. And then Swamiji has explained his, because that Gaudapadji's commentary is in Sanskrit. So then he has explained. And the reason we do Bhagavad Gita is because it's more practical application.
She has to tell you which one.
Oh, what?
Oh, she's brought her book. She wants to know where we are. Exactly.
Oh, I'll tell you. We were on chapter 8. So I kind of just picked certain things from Bhagavad Gita that, because here everybody has a background, so do you. So we can just kind of jump into it. We don't need to. So the place we were in Bhagavad Gita was in chapter 8. There were a couple of important things Bhagwan said, and we discussed it already, and then we are moving forward. He said that at the time of death, whatever your most predominant thought is, that determines your next life. And if you can just put your mind in God, then you get moksha. If no other thought comes of sansar to you, so just your mind is centered into the higher reality, that's what you attain. So that was a declaration. So the whole idea was okay, if that's what it is, and then we discussed that how whatever you practice in your daily life every day, whatever is the most important to you, that's what comes up at the last minute. You cannot pretend to be something you're not,
Yeah.
right? So that's where the whole idea came. And then he was talking about that how to have a life centered on Bhagwan. So then he said that you have to work in the world, so you have to define your duties, what they are, and then while you are doing the duty, somewhere in the back of the mind, you should be established in that reality. And the example, a very good example is like we were discussing that how actor acts in a movie, he always knows who he is.
Yeah.
So the same way we are doing all the different roles in this world, but we should know our identity. Our main identity is that spiritual identity. So that's where we were. And then, so, aapne aaye the last time, but basically what very powerful message he gave, that it does not matter what you are doing in the world, but if you are centered in, your mind is centered in God, then everything becomes like a puja. And you get the spiritual progress. So your attitude is the most important. It does not matter whether you are president or prime minister or you are some janitor somewhere. You can still have a spiritual progress and reach the same spot, in mukti. So that was the whole idea.
I did
Huh?
1500 Gayatri Mantra yesterday, just driving from one place to another. That was the effect of last week's. I listened to the talk.
Oh,
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 sure.
you
I
did.
didn't come, but
So
I.
everybody gets that.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
that's right.
It's half an hour to work and half an hour come back.
So 1500 and then?
Like whole day, I was just doing my mantras.
Oh.
That's amazing.
When I
That's
went for
awesome.
walk, that time 1.5 hours walk continuously, I was doing my mantras.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
just to inspire.
Thank you.
That,
Thank you so
when
much.
we put our energy, yes,
Yes,
it
yeah.
really comes back.
So, and then the second thing he said that when we are sitting in meditation, so he gave the pointers that we need to withdraw our attention and we need to think about the higher self. And then you had that question now, okay, how do we think about the higher self? So now this verse, the coming verse, he gives a definition of what the higher self is. And this is chapter 8. So he started the definition from chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita. And in chapter 7, he actually said 2 or 3 important things. I'm just giving you so that there's a good foundation, then we can go to chapter 8. So in chapter 7, he says that he is like, वो necklace में वो जो धागा होता है ना,
Yeah.
it
Ah.
holds the beads
Bindings.
together.
Yeah, yeah.
So that the whole universe is held together by that.
Yeah.
So it's a very beautiful example that, जैसे कि even in this class, how there is some certain kind of energy that we are just sitting around, and so all that is coming from that higher self. It holds the whole universe together. And he also said that there are 2 different aspects of God. They call it the higher self and the lower self. So the higher self is that what the Turiya state is here in our Mandukya. So that's the ultimate reality, and the lower self is, we can say, that matter, this universe.
In other words, Atma
Purusha
or Paramatma. Atma or Paramatma.
Atma, Paramatma, not.
No, not Paramatma, and then Turiya is above that.
I know, but when he's talking about matter,
yeah.
it's like, it's Purusha and Prakriti, like we were
Purusha
saying.
Prakriti.
So basically, the Prakriti or the lower self has no existence by itself. It's sustained by the higher
Yeah.
self. And there are many different meanings in that. And one of the meaning is that, like our body, it is enlivened by that higher self, but the moment that connection is gone, that's when we say death occurred.
In other
Even
words,
if
हम
your
लोग
body-
बोलते हैं consciousness.
Yeah, the higher is the consciousness.
Consciousness.
Consciousness, the higher self,
I
and
can-
matter is lower.
I can translate into chakras. We have like 7 chakras, and our energy stays in one of the chakras. And majority of the people who are living like animals, their energy always stays in bottom 3 chakras. Eating, sleeping,
Manipur chakra.
sex, and all that.
Yeah.
But when you lift that energy to higher level and when you just submerge that Turiya state, what you call.
Yes.
Shastra
So
When you
the reason
submerge
I'm
that
saying
higher
about
energy.
this two things because the higher self can stay without the lower self. The consciousness is
I mean, that
free.
is the foundation of
Foundation, but the lower cannot sustain without the higher.
Yes.
It's something like this, that wave and the ocean.
Yes.
Ocean can sustain without a wave. If you go deep, there is no wave, but wave cannot be without an ocean. You cannot take the wave out and put it here and
Yeah.
call it a wave. You see? So we have to understand their relationship. So that was the second thing he said in chapter 7. So those are the indicators of who higher self is. And the third one he said was that I'm the womb for the whole universe. So the higher self say he wo nikla hai everything bahar. And then so that was foundation in chapter 7. Now chapter 8, now we are going into it, what he's going to say. Now this, I'm not a great chanter, so I'll try because
Which
the
mantra
tune is
is?
different. This is
What is the
9.
number of the mantra?
9. Because it has one tune, but this is slightly different, so I'll make an attempt. Whoever should we lead, follow style? What are we going to
I
do?
think
Yeah,
you
lead
lead,
Okay.
and we will say the thing
Yeah,
after you,
yeah.
so that we are saying it correctly.
Okay. Kavim Puranam Anushasitaram. Kavim Puranam Anushasitaram. Anoranyam Samanusmaredyah. Sarvasya Dhataramachintya Rupam. Aditya Varnam Tamsa Parastat. So let's, you have that English translation, right? Whosoever.
Whosoever meditates upon the omniscient, the ancient, the ruler of the whole world, what is it?
Minuter.
Than the atom, the supporter of all, of form inconceivable, effulgent like the sun, and beyond the darkness of ignorance.
So here they call it indicative definitions, because that higher self there's so many aspects to it that nobody can describe it in one shot. So here Krishna Bhagavan is giving Arjun some pointers. So it is like each one almost tells one aspect of it, of that higher self. So you can pick your own favorite ones also, or you can pick all of them, but this is what it is. Somebody's phone?
That is my phone.
Okay. So now it stops if you want. So basically what it is that you slowly build the understanding, and once it build, then you come to a stage in your life where it becomes so powerful in your head that it will never separate from it then, because you realize that without that I'm nothing, the world is nothing, and everything is coming from there. But it's easy said than done. Intellectually we can understand, but to actually get established and soaked in it takes time. So that's why this, they say daily meditations, daily this, and it's kind of constantly being with it. But these pointers are also very, very important, because that leads us in the right direction. Otherwise people get stuck at the जैसे मंजिल पहुंचने के पहले ही वो stuck हो जाएंगे. Because some people start thinking, oh, maybe this is God, or that is either Murti is God or something, and then it's a symbol of God, but it's not really God. And so those are the kind of things that we have to keep in mind. So
Uma, a lot of things when we are doing Vedant, बहुत जगह ना हिंदी में बोलना पड़ता है, क्योंकि then you get the depth of it, because the words are not there in
I know,
English.
but
It becomes very
it's like
superficial.
because Swamiji, Chinmayanand ji does in English, and I teach my class
Acha,
to the
okay.
kids in English.
Okay.
So I'll try, but
Acha. Okay.
I think you guys are
I
getting it.
prefer English.
Yeah, and then she may not understand. So if you have some word to contribute, you can add to it when I'm saying. And here we are going to go in the Sanskrit also, because the first word he says that kavim. kavi, everybody knows what in Hindi what it means. What? Why is he saying kaving? But there's a different translation in Sanskrit. Kavi means in English, I've got to clean my glasses, omniscient. Like when we say who God is, in every religion they say three things. What are those three things? Omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, right? So the omniscient part is called kavi. So what does omniscient mean now? Omniscient is all-knowing. So as Swamiji says, does it mean that on one hand, yeah, you can say that we say, no, antaryami. Antaryami. It knows everything. But he says that why that word is used. It's not like, oh, God knows every thought of everybody all the time. That's not really the scientific meaning. He's telling you the scientific meaning. Scientific meaning is something like this, that our senses, the power behind the senses comes from that consciousness. Is that true? Everybody believes that in this class, right? So now think about it. Everybody's senses, whether you are a amoeba or animal or human, does not matter. That consciousness is one. We don't have many different consciousness. Consciousness is one. The higher self is one. God is one. You guys have doubts in your faces.
No, that's
No.
That's true.
Because that is the basis. That is
Yes.
the basis.
So
of
now
analyzing, we are just
Analyzing,
absorbing
yes.
it. Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we are on the same wavelength to move forward.
yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
So he's saying that the way Swamiji explains is now everybody's power behind is same. And everybody gets powered by it, and उसी से हमारी पूरी दुनिया चल रही है, उसी सब कुछ चांद सितारे सब उसी से चल रहे हैं. So that's why it's omniscient. As though it's seeing everything. It's something like sun, and then he gave the sun's example. Sun light में ही सब कुछ हो रहा है दुनिया में. If it is completely dark, we cannot function. So that sunlight is one, whether you go to China or whether you go to America or India or wherever, everybody, sun, and the light of sun is everywhere. So as though sun is seeing everything. Right? It's up there, and it's as though seeing it. That's where this omniscient word is coming from. So that's why it's omniscient. So that's one definition, kavi. And then the way it was in the olden days, the rishis were called kavi, the saints and sages. And the reason they were called because they knew what the truth was. So if you know the truth, in Vedanta you become the truth. That's what they believe. So that's why they also became omniscient, the kavi, the saints, and that's why it's called kavi. And we also know in today's world, the people who are like on a higher level of thinking, they are the only one who can write good poetry. Otherwise, nobody's going to read their poetry. They are philosophers. They are also connected with the higher self a lot more. That's why they can see better in this world. The things that we may not be able to see, they observe in the society and the world. So that's where the word is coming from. So that was the first word. Any comments? Anybody wants to add anything about kavi, omniscient? And then he says Puranam. Puran is ancient. So then here, what does ancient mean? So when we think of ancient, relative terms, we can say, 5,000 years, 10,000 years, 20,000. No, keep going back. It's like, what was there before time? So this is even like time ka bhi father, kind of. So that's why somebody said that in the English language, the smallest unit of time is what that we use every day?
Seconds.
Second. So why it's called second? Why it's not first? Anybody ever thought about it? Why it's called second?
Yeah, interesting. Because it's not the smallest unit.
No,
Yeah,
because it didn't come first. First is that ultimate reality.
right.
Then came time.
Okay.
So ultimate reality transcends time.
Yeah.
So first is ultimate reality. Second is time. That's why it's called second. I thought that was a great.
Very good.
Like it's superimposed on it. That is the
It's just
basis and
a
it's
simple thing
superimposed
that
on
it is before time is what? Bhagwan. Or before time is the ultimate reality. Before time is the consciousness.
Everything
Time
is
came
second.
after. Yeah, everything
It's
is
none to
second.
second.
None to second. There you go. That word also they use.
Yes.
It's none to second.
None to second.
That's why the smallest. So it is before time. It transcends time. And then we also have in the creation theory, they say that, creation, dissolution,
Yeah.
and everything is like dissolved and then it merges into that. There's no time at that point, And we also know the time is extremely relative term. In our dream, when we dream, sometimes we see a dream which expands 5 years of my life. Or in my dream, I go to India and come back. Like so